All right, let's jump right in. If you're a school leader, you're probably thinking a lot about artificial intelligence. Is it a big, scary threat, or is it an incredible opportunity? Well, today we're going to cut through all that noise and give you a practical framework to help you lead AI adoption responsibly and effectively. So, this is the big question, isn't it? It's on every educator's mind. Is AI something we need to contain, a huge risk, or is this a transformative opportunity that we should be embracing? The headlines are everywhere, and the pressure to figure it out is definitely on. And look, it's a genuine dilemma. For sure. On one hand, we've got some very real risks to think about: academic integrity, potential for bias in these tools, and of course, misinformation. But then you look at the other side of the coin, and the opportunities are just as powerful. We're talking about improving teaching, actually reducing teacher workload, and giving every single student personalized support. And that gets to the heart of it. This isn't about picking team risk or team opportunity. It's not about picking sides. The real work of leadership is finding the sweet spot in the middle, harnessing all that stuff while proactively managing the challenges. And that right there is why having a clear strategy is absolutely essential. So, as school leaders, how do we develop that strategy and create balance? Well, it all starts with a solid foundation. Before you even think about specific tools or pilot programs, you should build a strong governance structure. It's the first critical step to leading change with confidence. Now, I know the word governance can sound a little dry, but think of it this way: it's the system you build to create trust. It's how you make sure that all the excitement and buzz around AI is grounded in a deep commitment to things that really matter, like student privacy, fairness, and ethical use. Governance is your North Star through all of this. So, what does this actually look like? Well, governance really breaks down into four clear, manageable steps. First, you draft your vision and your principles. Then you create the policies and guardrails around it. Next, you define who's responsible for what. And finally, you establish a review cycle. Because honestly, this technology is constantly changing. You know, a great AI vision isn't really about the tech at all. It's more about your core educational values. These are people principles. Things like keeping a human in the loop and being transparent about how you're using AI, fiercely protecting student privacy, and making sure that AI is accessible to everyone, and just essentially flat out demanding ethical use. These are the pillars of a trustworthy AI strategy. So, if you need one simple, powerful idea to anchor your entire plan, this is it. AI is the co pilot, never the pilot. This one sentence can guide so many of your decisions. It makes the role of this technology very clear. It's a tool, an assistant, a co pilot, but it is never the final authority. The teacher and the student always remain at the center of learning. And here's a fantastic real world example of what governance looks like. If you take a look at the Ladue School District in Missouri, you'll see that this school district didn't just write policy and then forget about it. They created total clarity. They started with creating a vetted list of approved tools so there was no guesswork for teachers. They gave clear guidance to everyone, and most importantly, they reinforced that teachers had the final say on grading. See, procedures like this is how you build confidence and trust. All of this grew out of their thoughtful governance foundation that they had created. So let's say you've got your vision and your guardrails are in place. Now, what comes next? Well, you will need a plan, a 12-month plan, like a roadmap. This will be your best friend in the planning process. It will move you from just talking about how to implement AI to breaking the journey down into manageable chunks over the year. And notice the logic here. You don't just jump in and buy a bunch of software. You start small, you begin with readiness and planning, then you test the waters with small scale pilots, and this is key, you need to pause and evaluate what actually worked. And only then, once you've made those decisions, do you decide to scale up. It's smart, deliberate, and it's basically a step-by-step process that lets you learn as you go. So if we zoom in a bit on each phase, you'll see that in the first couple of months, you should be developing a clear vision. Then in phase 2, you're gathering actual evidence from your pilots, what worked, what didn't work in the real classroom. In phase 3, you're looking at that evidence and refining your approach. And then finally, in phase 4, that's where you build your long-term plan based on everything that you've learned. See how each step builds upon the last one? So you might be wondering, okay, where do I start? Well, the key here is to pick pilot projects that give you high potential for impact with a really low manageable risk. Think about using AI to help teachers do things such as save time on lesson planning, or maybe give students some initial feedback on their writing, or even to improve communication with multilingual families. These are all concrete, powerful places to start. Okay, so we've got our governance, we have our roadmap, but now what? Well, none of it works without the most important piece of the puzzle, leadership. And that's where you come in. Because in this new era of AI, the role of the school leader is fundamentally changing. This right here might be the most liberating idea for any leader who feels pressure to be an AI expert. You don't have to be. Let me say that again. You do not have to be the expert. In fact, pretending you have all the answers is the fastest way to shut down learning. Your goal isn't to be the source of all knowledge. It's to lead the journey of discovery. Instead, your real job is to model the way. It's about leading with openness, learning right alongside your staff. It's about leading with evidence, making decisions based on what the teachers in your pilot program tell you, and not just on the latest tech hype. And above all else, it's about leading with care, always keeping the well-being of your students and your staff at the absolute center of every single decision that you make. You see, a strong governance foundation and a careful roadmap can turn this huge challenge of AI into a powerful opportunity for your whole community. So, the path forward isn't about speed, it's about thoughtful, intentional action. So think about all of this. Discuss it with your administrative team. Bring teachers into the conversation. And then your real question can be is, what is our first step? Good luck, everyone.